Chapter 17. Grayle. I'd threatened to quit my position at the law firm. If they sent me out to handle another case, the legal secretary could have done a better job than me. However, I knew that my time with this law firm was coming to an end, because I'd neglected my father and his properties. I didn't have the life I'd wanted then, and now I was trying to make up for that. The feeling of contentment had been overwhelming, because now I was waking up with Caden each morning and waiting for him to come in at night. I smiled thinking about Cade sleeping with his legs wrapped around mine. I heard the door open and I knew it was Cade, and my heart hummed, then hammered at the thought of seeing Austin sitting in the kitchen drinking a glass of wine. My fear had been that Caden would come to the wrong conclusion, get angry, and storm out, but he didn't. Cade appeared to be in complete control. The way he'd been when I first met him, self-assured, arrogant, cocky, and as I said, in complete control of the situation. He sauntered into the house, saw the light on in the kitchen, and strolled up to me, kissed me on the lips, nodded, and gazed at Austin with a raised eyebrow, strode over to the fridge and reached for a bottle of water. He returned and sat to the left of me, leaned over and said to Austin, "Don't tell me you are here because..." He waited for Austin to reply. "I know Cade. Caden to you, and when Gray and I are married, you can refer to me as Mr. Meadows." He aimed a closed smile and a smirk at Austin. It didn't seem to faze or bother Austin because he'd had more than one glass of wine, and the bottle had just been opened, and every time I reached for it, he would pour himself another one. "You can't have any more. You were never a drinker, Austin," I warned. "Who are you, my father?" Austin said to me. "No. I'm nothing to you anymore. Just a concerned citizen, and I don't want to take your keys, or have you sleeping on my sofa. I don't want for me and Cade to wake up in the morning and see you in this house. My father's house, and soon to be Cade's as well." Austin turned to look at Cade, to try to reason with him. How much an inebriated man could reason with a sober one was yet to be determined. "You know, Cade. I mean, Caden, how hard it is being in love and jealous of another man. Well, now I find myself in that position." Cade interrupted him. "And you came here this time of the night because..." "I have no one to talk to about how much I'm hurting. And we should care because I've lost everything. I've lost Gray and I'm losing." He tried to touch my hand and I pulled it away. "I thought I had a child, and now I've learned that I don't. And now I've lost Zack," he whined and looked at his empty glass. "I'd say that the first two people you've named is what you called a tragic occurrence brought on by your own selfish BS, and that you're a dick in every measure of the word, and with Zack being a dick as well, that will serve you right for falling for someone like him, I touched Cade's arm to tell him to let up on him. He was hurting enough, and by all measures, Austin's pain was yet to come. Austin sat up, ready to hear what Cade had to say. "If I were you, I'd treat him the same inconsiderate way that you have treated everyone who loved you and tolerated you. Zack is a selfish, sanctimonious dick like yourself, and the only way to get to him is to one-up him. He needs to get a taste of his own medicine. But he might leave me. If you're afraid of him leaving you, then you can never get his attention. You are both the same age, and why the fuck are you here bothering me and Gray this time of night?" Cade glanced at his watch. "There's a baby that will need her diaper changed and a bottle just about now," he barked, and Cade stood, kissed me, and headed for our bedroom. Austin glanced over at me. "You did good, Gray. You should have been with him from the beginning. I'll be the first to tell you. Now can you ask Cade if it's all right to go with me to the county fair? If he says no, then you will have to get someone else to make Zack jealous. I don't think it's going to work. What you should do is have a talk with him and see a therapist about your problems. Ask Zack to stop drinking." "But I've had the best sex of my life when he's drinking." "I think when I stopped taking drugs and drinking too, that our relationship shifted. It appears that's the kind of relationships you like, so see a therapist. I can't help you, maybe they can. My patience had waned, and I was ready for Austin to leave, and he had just got started talking. I seem to pick out men who use some kind of substance to have sex with me, and then I fall in love and fall out of love, but I love Zack, and the sex and drinking is incidental. I think I've listened to you too long. I need to be with Cade. We've taken to caring for Amy together lately. I want her to see me and Cade together. That way she can depend on both of us when she see us together, feeding and taking care of her needs. Let yourself out and don't touch any more of the wine. I left him in the kitchen so I could be with Cade and Amy. There was only so much I could do with Austin. He was on his own. Meeting Cade in the bedroom, he was exiting the shower. I sat on the bed and said, "Where I'm sitting, this is the sexiest picture I've ever seen." Where I'm standing, did you show Austin the door? I left him in the kitchen and told him to see himself out. My cock isn't going to get hard unless I know that he's out of here, Cade insisted. And then Amy woke. Cade reached for a robe and his underwear, and we both headed for the kitchen to get her bottle and insert it into the bottle warmer, which would only take a few seconds, just enough time to get the bottle to her. Passing the living area, I saw Austin slumped, lying on his stomach on the sofa. Cade glanced at him and said, "I have more important things to do than caution that man about sleeping overnight here." Cade paused. "If you value my love for you, call him a taxi and send him home," Cade demanded. Cade winked at me, pulled me in for a kiss, and before he left, he had never looked so sexy as when he barked orders at me and sauntered away to care for our child. I glared at a drunken Austin and wondered what I'd ever seen in him. But that was a few years ago, and he was a different man then. A man in his own element, a man in the city appearing to have it all together, with his expensive suits and ideas about being rich. He'd grown up poor, and it was like taking the lion out of the jungle and placing him in a cage now. Austin wasn't as fierce as he'd been in New York, and as long as he stayed in this small town, he never would be again. This was Zack's territory now, and Austin had to live by Zack's rules, or go back to New York where he'd have a better chance to find someone. I shook his shoulder, and Austin sat up and looked at me. "You have to leave now, Austin." I glanced at him and felt sorry for him, but for a man like Austin, feeling sorry only went so far. I was sure that when he sobered up he would give Zack more than he bargained for, but for now he had to leave the house before Cade gave me my marching orders, because after all he was my boss now. The idea that Cade was my boss sounded sexy and relaxing. I welcomed him taking control of our sex life and my life altogether. He'd proven to be smart, strong, and resilient. Any man who could be patient enough to wait Austin out and antagonize him because of me would be all I wanted and needed in life, and Cade had proven to be a great father and caregiver to Amy. When I couldn't get a cab or Uber at 1 a.m., I called Cole. He and his partner were just leaving the local bar after a game or two of pool, and Cole said that he'd be happy to pick up Austin and dump him on his steps. "I've changed a diaper, fed Amy, and now I want my man with me in bed," Cade hummed. "I'm ready if you are," I said, taking Cade's hand after kissing him. "What are you going to do with Mr. Lonely in there?" "Cole is stopping by, and he has his partner with him. You know, the ex-biker with all the tattoos and scar from a bullet wound in his arm, and a few knife wounds on his chest and leg." Cade ghosted a kiss over my lips and placed his palm over my covered cock. "And you know this because?" "Because Cole told me." "Good answer." And he stroked my balls. "Now how long will it take before Cole gets that drunken man out of this house?" "5 minutes," I answered. "That's how long you have. After that I can't promise anything because I'm tired."